What's up, people? So I'm gonna wait a little bit, and then we'll get into, we'll do some real-time research today. We'll look at a couple, ideas about the pharmaceutical industry. And what up, Gary Baxter? How you doing? Loomis, what's going on? And Aldrin? Yeah, we're gonna do some. We can do something quick here before I go out and then get this. Look at this glorious day out there. Boom, shining. I'm about to go get some sunshine in a little bit, but I thought I would do some quick little research with people. I'm splendid. I'm doing well, Gary. I'm doing well. I was gonna say good, but I know that I've said good before when people say, "How are you doing?" And then they'll go, "You mean to say well, don't you?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna talk to me about the English language? Let's go." The kind of person that corrects me on good and well. Let's play games. But I've learned to say well. I'm doing well, Gary, or splendid, or wonderful. What up, Illumis? And Karmic Oak Run, what's going on? So before I dive into, like, can you guys read stuff when I do this? Let me know. Is this readable for you? Not that it really matters, because I will just what up, Zenith? As I will just kind of give the highlights of it, anyways. It's not anything we need to do. We're not doing any deep. Okay, yeah, I figured it'd be hazy on that side. Okay, well, I'll just kind of walk through it. We'll just. Yeah, I assume so, because I don't have this on super high quality, because it will just eat into the. It'll eat into the megabytes, and this will shut off. So. Yeah, you're old with poor sight. Well, you got to start pissing in your eyes, Gary. What are you doing? Put some piss in there. Some piss and some cayenne pepper. Get those things working. Well, anyways, I'll wait a couple more minutes before we dig in here, before I got people having me backtrack on things. Hold on one second, y'all. Okay, what's happening here? All right. We're almost back. I guess I'll wait till, usually like I do, give it about 5 minutes and see who shows up. And then, you feel like a hermit? Yeah, I know the feeling. Well, no. Do you feel like a hermit? Do you actually know what a hermit feels like? Just because you're doing what a hermit does, do you actually feel like a hermit? There's a query into the nature. See, some people try to or become like a hermit, and they don't like it. Other people love it. So I wonder what the actual hermit that's sitting there with the quaint little smirk on his face and the up until all hours of the night studying. Yeah. What's up with the fires in California? Yeah, man, there's so much to me on the news these days that I say, do you know anyone that was there, and are you absolutely sure they're not part of the literal million of people that are part of societies and acting agencies, etc., and, I mean, are these towns real? Like, I always have to jump in there immediately with that kind of stuff, because I'm like, I don't know anybody that's like out here, like, and where's all the people with their cameras, like, here watching it happen? Like, I don't see any footage on it. There's literally fires burning everywhere, and no one's taking pictures of this stuff. I mean, full on, like, everyone has a fucking camera in their pocket, and in fact, they have a video recorder in their pocket. So I want to see. This should be like. And then to get into if it really did happen, okay, is it laser beams from these planes? I mean, maybe. You know what I mean? And it's, I always thought forest fires were funny myself, from the sense of who's this bear? What's Smokey the Bear about? And when, like, at what point did it become like this big thing where people were just starting fires? Oh no, it just happened. Well, if forest fires were happening over 100 years ago, there was nobody putting them out 100 years ago with helicopters and water. There was no fire departments putting out forest fires. So all the forest fires would have been burnt down unless they're always 100% of the time controlled. So from the sense of, are those forest fires, well, I'm not there, I don't know. All I get is little bits of piece of information from what I see on the news, and I know the news to be about 99% bullshit. I immediately go, well, what are they trying to teach you? What are they trying to, what's the okie dokie here? Our car is really burning down with aluminum, the aluminum in the car just melting, and then we have trees sitting over there that aren't burned down. I mean, man, that to me is just more like, I don't know. See, it's a bit crazy. For me, it turns into like, how many of these are actually pot farms? You know what I mean? Look into that. Look into how much medicine is being produced where these things are getting burnt down, and how many people that are actually pot farmers are getting their entire crop burnt down. And then we can say, oh, looks like we got some people out here starting pot farms on fire to burn down. You got people part of the medical establishment. And funny enough, here we go, flipping it around. What is the name of this show that I wanted to do? This gets into the pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies got, trillions and trillions of dollars. And now connect that to, okay, you got somebody stepping on your toes of your business. There's plenty of people plenty of dumb, poor people that for $1 million will go light, something on fire. So, getting into all that, I think that might be a little more clue into what's going on. Kind of like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to war over oil in some foreign country. But it's really all about poppy seeds. Like, let's be real. So what up, Electric Towel? Yeah. So I guess we about in here now, and I just continue on with this, what we were talking about. And funny, like I just said, funny enough, somehow this all gets connected back into the only industry on the planet, the biggest one, the one that is connected so heavily into, like, you basically have 3 businesses on this country, in this world, and the 3 businesses all work out of the church, and the church works into the media, and the media works into pharmaceuticals, and how those connect together are, it's all psychological and programming and physical disease causing agencies and et cetera. So let me jump into here. Here's where I started this query, because I was looking at someone's statistics, and it was somebody that was like, oh, smoke weed because weed doesn't cause any harm, and here's the 3 biggest causing problems. Here's the biggest causes of death, and the first one was like, what, I don't know, heart disease, and the second one was alcohol, and the third one was car accidents, and the fourth one was tobacco. No, like the second one was tobacco. No, it was like the first or second one was tobacco. The third one was alcohol. And I was like, man, these people don't really understand what's going on here. Like, these charts are way off. Like, and the numbers they're using and the way that they're trying to inform, it was really upsetting me. If there is a me to be upset. But right away it takes like 2 seconds for me to go, oh, that's right. I've been noticing how this works for a long time. And I'm not even going to get into my original thesis on this, which was the idea that why they're pushing weed so much, and it's because it's been modified and government finally has their hands on it, and there's a lot going on there. But the connection to this, the word is iatrogenesis or iatrogenic, and it has to do with how much harm is caused by the medical profession. And it's funny because they make a separation at many places. And the number of iatrogenic deaths, let me just do this. And this is John Hopkins' study. This is the people that are in, they're the people. John Hopkins calculated that there are more than 250,000 deaths a year due to medical errors. Now to put that into context, let me find. It's the third leading cause of death, according to this study, but I'm going to get into why these studies are really ridiculous and what the actual number is. So that's third behind heart disease and cancer. Iatrogenic death. So iatrogenic essentially means a disease or illness caused by medical examination or treatment. So it means the treatment is actually causing more harm than good or actually killing someone. And it is literally the third cause of death, the third leading cause of death. And then there's other studies that get into like what alcohol does, why weed is so good and why tobacco's awful. And let me just jump in there with where it started, where I was like, no, tobacco isn't the problem. Here's the clue in. Tobacco's killed no one. Tobacco is the same as weed. It hasn't killed anyone. What the problem is all the chemicals, as always. It's the tobacco itself is not only shamanic, but it's healthy, and there's many uses for it. Now, all of the sprays and all of the garbage in it, that's what's causing the problems. Now, let's get into the bigger issue here. So if the third leading cause of death, or disease in general, is iatrogenic, and they tell you the first two are heart disease and cancer, well, let's say, yeah, I love statistics. Aren't they great? It's how to lie with statistics. And I'm just getting into obviously we know all statistics are phony, but I'm getting into the theoretical, the reality of it. Let's go let's say this. Who cares what the numbers are? I'm just giving a lesson on the ideas of it. So the first two are heart disease and cancer. Well, what do we know about heart disease and cancer? It's caused by the food we're eating. This is 1,000% over. Everyone knows this. You have to be completely dead of the mind. You have to be a waste of space to not comprehend that your diet over the course of a lifetime is causing you to have cancer or causing you to have heart disease. And what do we know about that diet? What do we know about? Well, let's jump in here real quick. It's called the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. They administer food and drugs to you. And my first question is, what does food have to do with drugs? Nothing. In the real world, nothing. The food would have nothing to do with it. But they tie it together because pharmaceutical companies now have their hands all up in the ass of your food. So, not even by proxy, but by direct linkage, everything you're eating, which is causing number 1 and number 2, heart disease and cancer, is caused by the pharmaceutical companies. It is literally caused by the same source, which is called, let's get the word right here because it's a fun one. I wanna make sure it's right. It's called iatrogenic or iatrogenesis. The effects on a person resulting from any activity of one or more persons acting as healthcare professionals. So, let me even go back a little bit farther. Iatrogenic. I mean, we don't gotta really play with the definition because there's no dicing up what we're saying here. We know what we're saying, which is relating to illness caused by medical examination or treatment. Relating to illness caused by medical examination or treatment. So, if we say medical treatment, our food has been medically treated. That means pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical companies are medicine. The fact that they divide it up and say that if you walk into a hospital, you're receiving medical treatment, to separate that from the idea that if you go and buy a box of Lucky Charms that has literally pharmaceutical patented things inside of it, you're taking pharmaceutical medicines. That's just simply that. And so now all of you can look at just about every source of disease in the world, in this country, and everywhere. completely corresponded and related to iatrogenesis and pharmaceutical. Use one of the words. It doesn't really matter, but that the point is that's the cause, and to be even more clear on this idea of weed being legalized now. People better get really clear on this, and I've done many videos on this so people can, before, you know, because everybody are starting to slide down this. You see, the weed thing is the same thing as the everybody wanting to be vegan thing. It's a slippery slope, and everybody's not seeing it. They're about to get hit upside the head, and everybody's not going to realize that the way that they administer the poison has changed. This is why there are so many strains of genetically modified weed, and you don't know what you're getting. Now they're poisoning you through the weed. People are like, oh no, it hasn't caused any death, hasn't caused any sickness. Yeah, watch what happens in the future. Everybody's, well, I can't tell why. I can't tell why I can't get any healthier. I'm eating all this garbage food, and I smoke this weed that's yeah, it takes away the pain, but it's not solving the disease, because people are still consuming all the other garbage they are in their food. And then on top of it, what are they doing? They're consuming now the weed that has probably more toxin and poison and chemically modified whatever in it. So, you know, the delivery mechanism went from, okay, well, people are starting to get hip to this and hip to the idea that we're poisoning through the blood of animals, and people are getting a little more aware and saying, hey, let's not hurt the animals. Okay, now they're going vegetarian. Well, let's just change vegetarian to vegan, and now all of a sudden we can mutilate the ideas of vegetarianism and turn it into a cult of veganism, and we can also, like, hey, you know, we're making this weed go legal because everybody likes to get high. Let's let them get high, but let's just start to adulterate that there. Let's poison that. They first poisoned the water. They poisoned the water. Now they're poisoning your weed. Now it actually is weed. It used to be actually, like, weed used to be fun and, you know, whatever. Now it's like you smoke it and you're out your mind. Like, you have to be so precise and specific in what you're getting and know where you're getting it from. Now, I'm not taking away from the power and use of this sacred plant by any means, because if you know your source and you know what you're getting from, and then you're getting some quality stuff. This is good. This is excellent. This is a great thing. But for the overwhelming mass of the country, they're just going to be, oh, next big thing, next big fad. They're on the fad of, okay, I got the legal weed, and I got the. It's great to be vegan, and they're not gonna understand how weak and diseased and sick they've become, because it's gonna be a slow ride to death, and a slow, you know, yeah, they're gonna have a comfy, they're gonna have a comfy couch on their way to the end of their life, which is going to include a lot of pain, because I don't think people see what's happening with the amount of toxic sludge that they're putting in their body through these vegan diets. And it's walking hand in hand with this whole let's deliver, hey, weed is great, weed is good. Yeah, it is. Veganism is good and great, but let's slow down stop labeling and boxing it up and see what's really going on here. Because it's just people have to really get clued into this. The whole world just didn't change because we spiritually became alive and, hey, we all love each other and we want the world to be better. Yeah, we all get it. But let's be real. There are 72 giant corporations and companies that control 50% of the energy in this world. Not just money, energy we're talking about. Energy. They're controlling everything. And to think that now just because there's some caring people around that have tiny little corporations that the world changed overnight, this is not, that's not how it works. And on top of it, you know, you got to think of these people in these businesses now. They come up on a little cash and whatever. That doesn't mean that they're staying hip and well advised on the kind of product they're getting. They don't know. I've known plenty of people that are in all sorts of different industries. They're decent at their job. Doesn't mean that they know what they're getting. You know, you can walk into any restaurant. You don't know what's coming. You don't know where they're getting their food from, and half of the managers don't even know where the source of food is. So now, if you don't know the source of food, you can put that into every other industry. The source of your cotton for your clothes, the source of your weed, even, or whatever you're getting, and then we can always trace these lineages back to, well, look, it looks like somebody's adulterating it. I mean, look at this concept. Even the olive oil industry, there's been a whole expose done in the olive oil industry. Well, everybody thought they was just getting extra virgin olive oil, and then come to find out, there's only like, I don't know, 10 or 12 brands out there are actually using olive oil. The rest of them are either cut or a different oil altogether, and in fact being cut with things that you shouldn't even be ingesting in your body. Because this is all mafia underground stuff. You know, they run in their big cans of oil through over here. We're cutting it with this. And once it goes through, you know, export, like who's gonna, you know, polish this man's hand with a few bucks? He's letting that slide right through. Who knows, right? So the things you're getting on your shelf, you don't even know. We guarantee we love this company, but you don't know the source. So this is the whole thing about Iatrogenic and the pharmaceutical company. Everything that they have their hands in. It's hard to find something, you know, these days. Like basically what we have become as humans is processing stations for all of the junk. And that's what we have to do. Like when you're an educated person, when you're a conscious consumer, as it were, like we're still even in the point, I don't care how healthy we try to be, we're still at a point where we're processing stations. And hopefully we're putting less and less messy, dirty things in our body. We're surrounding ourselves with less toxic things, but we're not getting out of it. You can't, you know, running the gambit for a week if you have a normal job, trying to not ingest something that is, you know, completely full of poisons for your body is a tough go at it. Even if you have complete control of your life, like it's very tough. If you walking in the supermarket, you're already, you know, you don't know what's in those packages, man. So that's where we are, man. I just find it very funny that, you know, people like to divide up all of these. Oh, here's the leading cause of death. You know what the leading cause of death is? Breathing. Life is the leading cause of death. How's that? And, you know, that's getting into the funny kind of curious scape of, oh, let's all be spiritual here and death is life and life is death. But like, you know, let's be real here, y'all. Let's like this is real stuff, and we're dealing with the reality of hey, there's people out there that you know what's more important to them? Their family is more important than you are. And that's the way life has been for a very long time. And so there's ways of adjusting this. There's ways of accounting for this and changing it. But in reality, the what is the best? There we go, Reza. The true way, the leading cause of death is being born. You know, there's a few people that are. I'm going to be one of the ones that screws those statistics up. It's been about 100% for so far. We cutting that down to 99%, Gary. I mean, I've always said that if they tell you there's only 3 things in the world that are guaranteed, what is it? Death, taxes, and something else? Was it death, tax, and yeah? But like, yeah. So far, if you're alive right now, you ain't dead. So you've already escaped the clutches of death if you're alive now. Their statistics are wrong for about 7 billion people. Although they'll become a statistic shortly, huh? So I'm gonna go back and see what you all were saying here, and then try to catch up. Don't get too far ahead of me, cause I got all screwed up yesterday, where everybody got too far ahead of me. All right. Yeah, and you know what, Gary? You said the connected to money and the love of money. Yeah, I'll do a furthering talk on specifically money, and energy and power and creativity, and there's some interesting things there. Yeah. Yeah, Butte, some AIDS cures and cancer cures. I mean, I ain't even one to think AIDS really exists. Cancer is always, there's so many ways to cure cancer, and it's not even curing it. There's so many ways to get rid of cancer. Like, I say it like this. I walk down the street, 90% of people have some sort of cancer in their body. Physical, and, I mean, they definitely have mental and spiritual cancers, but physical ones, yeah, most people do. You don't even, you walking around with cancer. The only people worried about is the ones that go to the doctor, and the doctor goes, oh, you got cancer. And they go, oh my God, I have cancer. Like, nothing changed other than the doctor told you had cancer. You've been walking around with it. Holy shit, I got cancer? Oh no, everybody feels sorry for me. I have cancer. Go buy a yellow ribbon. Give more money to the institutions that cause cancer. Oh. Yeah, and Butte, the statistics can be made up. Like, yeah, there's a book, How to Lie with Statistics. Yeah, all statistics are horse shit in my book. But, you know, we can kind of play with them to a degree. You know, there's a little bit of like, hey, if there's 3 people in the room wearing red out of 10, like, yeah, but, you know, we can kind of play with these things enough to kind of reevaluate what they're really saying. Yeah, yeah, there you go, Zenith. The AIDS test only, yeah, it doesn't even for the whatever the virus is, right? It changes from a virus to autoimmune. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, funny. The meaning of treatment means poison, kill people. Yeah, the root word is pharma, like from pharmakia. It literally means poison. It's a poison, poison making cult. Now, when we get back all into it a little deeper and stuff, like the poison, the panacea, so we found the poisonous thing for the treatment, etc., etc. But where it's been taken is they realized that they could juice it over a long period of time, give you a poison that was slowly administered over a period of time, and give you micro solutions that you needed to keep re-upping on. Like if it solved the problem, why do you need to go back to the doctor and get more? Yeah, I believe about yeah. It seems like the poisons are in the air now, which means it's even more of the reason that people need to clean their systems so we can be like full on like we can breathe in and just nope. We're gonna go ahead and release that out of have our immune system at such a high working order that this shit don't even matter. You could literally walk through a war zone sprayed with Agent Orange and just breathe as you're walking through it. I mean, I felt that way when I've been walking through. Like people are like, "Oh, everybody's sick," and they're like, "Don't come near me, don't." Yeah, and they're sneezing, and stay away. I'm like, No, it doesn't bother me." In fact, the only time I've ever really gotten sick is when I've ever done like heavy duty like healing, Reiki work or energy work on people or massage, and I'll lose my place and I'll stop breathing and I'll realize I've just collected a bunch of their energy into me and it's really difficult to get rid of, and that's the only time I really get sick. I mean, other than that, I have like dis-ease that I kind of deal with, like as a redundant occurrence because of my behavior patterns. But other than that, like no, I don't really get them normal sicknesses. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Poison ivy. I wonder. That's interesting. You know what's funny is like in the beginning it's probably really bad, but I bet after a while they build up that tolerance, and all of a sudden, they become like a super monster. Yeah, Reza, that's why the biggest thing out here. Back to the this turns into a conversation about here. I'll let you all see my grill. Uh, that's why here, you can look at the my dude the elephant while I talk. That's why the whole thing that we were talking. I was kind of talking about yesterday. Flat Earth isn't a big deal for it to go public. It's not a big deal for the masses to become aware that the Earth is flat. It's not a big deal. I mean, it is for a little bit of a transition, and all of a sudden, oh man, we don't trust NASA, blah blah blah. But there's too much that's going to be going on there. They have a way of transitioning out of that and finding other ways to extort your money through taxes in different ways. So they don't care about that. But if you literally could figure out that you could fix yourself with piss, there's literally not then really what come to the real terms of what we mean as a monk sitting there like what do you really need in life, and then we go okay, well the first thing we need, okay, well we need air, and then we need water, and we need to keep warm, and house would be nice, but health is really the thing we're talking about. Let's be healthy. And if everything that's going on in society is like literally in the way of you being healthy every day, and so because of that there's like plenty of solutions for it everywhere. You're tired, here we have coffee, and that coffee makes you not tired, but it also makes something else that you need a solution or a pill for in the future. Hey, you're hungry, so we can feed you, but in that food is some sort of poison that you're going to need a pill for, right? So there's a whole cyclic thing. Now, if we just say, hey, not only can I feed you, but I can feed you nourishment, real nourishment, and something that is extremely medicinal, and I offer that to you, and you're like, how much does it cost? And I'm like, oh no, that shit's free. What? That shit is real free? There's no way they allow that to become popularized information. I mean, the fact that it's already been known throughout the world by many, many, many cultures and is practiced, like, because of that, it's already been known. It would have already been popularized if it wasn't for the like repression of it. Like how it won't be. It can't be. When the idea of the revolution being televised, never being televised, the evolution or well, I don't like the word evolution, but the getting back to self won't be televised. To becoming a god won't be televised. Nothing about it can. You can't. What is going to be a marketing campaign to drink your piss? Where's the money in that? Who's going to spend the money? If somebody wants to do this, legit, like, find a grant. If someone would find grant money to make piss popular, that's the only way you do it. Other than that, you have to be a billionaire because there's no one's going to... Where's the money going to come from? There's no money in piss. And this is why anybody out here selling shit, they're like here to fix you. Like, yeah, granted, there's a lot of other things we can add, and to our experience, etc., etc. There's a lot of good things. They'll speed up processes, crystals, cleaner kind of waters, all sorts of different fun things. I mean, yeah, these are great things, all in the spiritual community and the getting healthy community. I'm all for most of it, But there is this underlying thing that's like, nah, you could just drink your piss, yo, and ain't nobody want to know about that because then you free for real. What do you got? What do you need? I don't even need the water anymore, right? Shit, he don't even want our water. He don't want our food. He wants something. Oh, he must. Oh, I know what he wants. Offer him the women, or the women. Offer them the cosmetics. Offer them new high heels. I mean, I'm being funny, but yeah. Spiritual death is different, Butte. That's very funny, yeah. See, I come to it from the idea that most people coming to this earth don't, you have a spirit and it's kind of killed very early, and then you regrow your spirit and then you grow your soul out of it. So it's kind of like processing, like, okay, you're born, and then the whole thing, you got spirit because you're out there like dancing and shit, and then like inject it, kill it, turn it into a robot. You lose your spirit, and then you regrow the spirit as you grow up. As you grow into a soul, you kind of go through processes. I explained this the other day, that the process is basically the human is the physical form. It's what the standard person is, and that's it's imbued by the spirit. And then above that is the next level, which would be spirit is contained within an archon, and then an archetype, and then a demigod, and then a god form. There's kind of levels to this. There you go. Doctors do plant psychological seeds. Most of them don't even know they're doing it. But the funny thing is, because they've already committed to the church that they're in, and they're invested into it, because doctors aren't rich, they're in debt. You better believe that. I got friends that are doctors that are in their 40s. They got a nice living, but that's all debt living. They probably ain't even paid off their school yet, So to think that not only are they in debt to it, but they've literally devoted a giant portion of their life in believing that this is the right thing. Even if they came to the stark contrast, and it's like, somebody just like literally, all of this is false and bad and terrible, and somebody's just like laid out all the information, they couldn't accept it. How could you accept your entire life has been a complete farce? In every way, that as a doctor you've been fooled. Being fooled about flat Earth is one thing, but being fooled about like your entire life's journey, and believing that you're hey, when you grow up, what are you going to be? You're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a policeman. Great, yeah, doctor, lawyer, and policeman. Out of all of them, you could add teacher to that. Those four things are the most toxic delivering agencies on the planet. And everybody's, oh, that's a great thing to do. And now then you have to be stark contrast and say, no, that's actually you're poisoning people quite ruthlessly. You're taking away energy. You're taking away life. You're stealing from people. But they can't even see that. And that's the thing. Is like there's no doctor out there that doesn't really think they're doing God's work. Even though most of them are atheists, but they still believe there's some sort of God or some sort of, like, you know, or they're helping people. I'm out here helping people, you know? Gideon. Yeah, I think, you know, like, all in all, as weird and tumultuous and strange and awkward as things are sometimes, I think there literally has to be some sort of transitionary thing that's going on here. It seems like in every way this is like the Aquarian age, and it seems like there are, you know, is it just that it seems this way to me, or does it seem this way to you, or is technology helping evolve it? Are there archons and gods and things out there of higher degrees of knowledge and systems operators that are opening up pathways, and say it however you want, you know? Is there, you know, from the spiritual realm, oh, we're just gonna, you know, rise up, maybe all of these things, but, you know, go to the next realm, next level, whatever. Or just, is this everything just going to get better on this earth, and people are going to come to terms with, like, hey, this shit ain't working so well here, guys, we got to do something else. Like, let's and the one thing that I always talk to people about when I get into this conversation is the concept that we're made to die because we're made to, not we're made to, but we're encouraged to. We're encouraged to do the things that will kill off the human body, because this plane isn't big enough to support the next generation of children being immortal, and then the next generation of children being immortal. If everyone knew they were immortal and went through the processes of being immortal, there would be too many people here. Then it would literally be chaos. It would be a bunch of immortal people with in too small of a space, and it would be utter chaos. So I think that in any good way, if there is a good way, Shiva came through, and this is even, you know, and I even throw it out there for my dude, Electric Tau. This is, you know, all power to Shiva, the electric moon goddess, right? And it's that people are eating themselves and doing all of these things that are encouraged to kill themselves, and it's a very small number of people that will take the path of immortality. And I think that's it. That's what it is. I mean, to me, that's like, if I got a really strong base system of, like, I think I know what's going on here, it feels that way, because the planet would be overrun with people. Everyone else, come here. You're all immortal. Figure it out. And then some people figure it out, and we're like, oh shit, come on, guys. But then go, oh, slow down. They're not going to believe you anyways. And even if they did, are they going to go through the process? And even if they go through the process, like we're talking about a lot of things here. Like, only a few people can be immortal. That's really the truth. You know? Everybody else go back in the mixer, back in the cement mixer. You know? Death ain't a bad thing. They just get to try again. So I think that's something. I think that's very, very much what's going on here. That, you know, as much as we'd love to go, hey, come join us in this party forever, in the ever life forever and ever. Not everybody can do that on this planet right now, because think about it right here. We got 8 billion. If everybody if we all one more generation, we just start popping kids out, and then we don't die, like all of us this generation. How many people is that? 16 billion? Now one more generation? And that's not even, like, we could generationally gap, like, it don't even got to be 30 years. It could be 20 years. Now all of a sudden 16 million or 16 billion in 20 years? Are we doubling that? We out of control real quick with the amount of people here, right? And I can't even account for all of the numbers of people and statistics wise of how many people have been here, how long it's been going on. You know, it's hard to tell. But I mean, that's not to say that we're overpopulated now, because we're not. We're just living in the wrong spots. Oh, Johnny K, you just listened to that Master Diet video. How was that? I don't even remember making that one. That was a while ago. I was probably saying something about drinking pee and sucking in prana, huh? Who, Daylist said Donald Trump is the best president we ever had. Well, I mean, I don't know who we are. He can speak for himself, or she can. I mean, he's just some dude, president of a corporation. Anybody that talks about best or worst president doesn't have any idea whatsoever what's going on. That's like saying, you know, dude running Coca-Cola is the best president. Who cares? How so? He keeping it real, B. He keeping it real out here in the streets. The Butte Ween, you know what's funny is different cities I've lived in have had different tunes for the ice cream truck. In fact, different neighborhoods have different ice cream truck tunes. But that might be on some other ice cream man shit. If you catch my drift, if you into hip hop culture, ice cream man ain't just delivering ice cream, you know? Oh, Gary Baxter, I'm glad we got back. I'm at 121, so I know I'm well behind because I went on a long tangent. But yeah, Gary, use it in your eyes, dude. That'll clean your eyeballs up, for certain. And get some cayenne to add to it. Get some cayenne tincture and put 1 drop. Start with 1 drop in an eyedropper. Or in an eye cup, excuse me. Get an eye cup. Like $3, CVS, whatever. Put your piss in there. Some nice warm, brand new, fresh piss. And then a drop of cayenne tincture. Now, if you can handle that, next time do 2. You'll see. It will burn. You want it to burn a little bit, and you're actually bringing blood to the surface of your eyeballs. It's and once it's done, it's very nice. It's a very nice feeling, and it'll clean up your eyeballs. Zach Corona. Okay, well then, you know what? Then I dig it. Hey, as I'm going a little farther here, I'm at 123. He was saying Trump shows us the president doesn't mean shit. America's a troll. Yes, in this sense, I do agree. And I think that because it's so over the top and so absurd, that it's basically, once again, everything is so absurd in the media these days that, like, literally, if you don't know, like, idiocracy, if you don't see, like, the false flag bullshit, if you don't see that he is literally orange for a reason because orange is 33 is blah blah blah, if you don't see that's all, like, I mean, just the way, just how silly it is, how silly the whole thing is, like, they're just doing it, they're just outright saying, dude, let's just be as silly as possible. These people gotta notice. It's almost like the great awakening was people saying, yo, these people like, they don't notice yet. This ain't even. I mean, it's. I mean, they can't just come out and say it against. It's like their leaders are so far away, like the yellow brick road and down that they're like, yo, people got to know what's going on. We can't come out and just say, hey, there's some guy that's living in, because then they sound like a bunch of conspiracy theorists, right? But the people that were already in control already co-opted that word, and they can't, so they can't come out and say it. But they can act a fool and be like, "Are you getting it yet?" So in the good way, like, yeah, these actors out here, Trump's an actor. We know this. Oh, Tom Corner, wicked dude, you fixed your eyesight. See, I love hearing stuff like this, man. I love hearing stuff when people, clean up their eyeballs, especially. Man, I go through phases of where my vision comes in, like, I get a little bit of a cloudy vision or whatever from just eating garbage and having a bad diet and whatever, and then my eyeball becomes a little more cloudy. But, yeah, then I'll just get right on some urine and some cayenne and some eye bright. Yeah, Gary, add eye bright to it. Eye bright, you can get eye bright tea bags, and then get that eye bright juice, warm it up a little bit. And obviously consume the tea, It's right in there. It's called Eyebright for a reason. Our electric towel. Yeah, Zenith, you gotta let them know. These are just people. People gotta remember all these people are in the doctors' offices and shit. They're know-it-alls, which are bullies. You need to know how to deal with narcissists, and I'm gonna do a whole video on this. I have done them before, and this is dealing with people that are know-it-alls and narcissists, and these feed into certain industries. And then once somebody thinks they know something, that they have control over their little box, they know something more than you. Oh, you're just some idiot. I went to school for 8 years. They don't have any, there's nothing they can really do except for try to bully you. And it's not even that they necessarily are bullies, but they're know-it-alls. And that know-it-all comes out as egoistic narcissism, as well as a bunch of the cluster B personality disorders, which is actually why these people get into these professions anyways. So anybody that's in the mental health care field, the healthcare field, they already have cluster B personality disorders to begin with. Most people got in there because they were like curious, because they wanted to figure out their own mind, and then they couldn't, and then they became instructors in the circus of how to try to fix other people's mind, even though they're in the delusion themselves. So anybody it's very few and far between that you can find anyone in the mental health field that is actually a professional at really helping people. You won't find them in there. There will be some. There'll be some, but read the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I did a reading on one of those passages that I found, like, I just found so much perfect wisdom in. And he was saying he wouldn't let his son go to this mental health practitioner because they weren't kin, they weren't family. There's no way this person can actually care, and if they don't actually care and they're not actually family and they're doing it for a paycheck, there's a division. No matter how much that person is a caring, loving person, there's no way they can actually really truly care. If you can't call that person at 2 a.m, if that person didn't hold you against their bosom at when you're bleeding, when you fell down the stairs, if the person has no connection, in fact no spiritual connection. You can find shamans that'll have spiritual connection to anyone, but not a healthcare professional. No way. Can't happen, won't happen. And it's funny that so many, it's even funnier, which is a lot of places that are mental health facilities actually house and contain people that are actually shamans. That they call them insane or schizophrenic because they can see into other realms. That they're actually shamanistic. Go figure. And you can all check into Terence McKenna's work called Schizophrenia or Shamanism. And this is bigger. This goes into, like, we could go real deep into this. Is like, getting into the burning of the witches and a lot of things. But yeah. Now it's just popularly accepted. No, that person's crazy. Yeah, Karmic. Yeah, I'm still way behind, guys. Karmic, they get mad when you don't listen to their vaccines advice. That's why That's why I just don't go. Like, well, who would? I can't imagine ever going to a doctor, other than like for a broken bone or something. Yeah, there's doctors out there that are doing good work. Trust me on this. Doctors in the healing arts of, like, setting bones and when there's traumatic injuries. Yes. Don't. This is not a blanket statement over all things, but all things pharmaceutical. There's not much going on good there. We're talking about traumatic doctors, and when people are really, like, in need, they're oh yeah, I'm high five them. They're great. But the vaccines, all that bullshit, fuck out of here with all that. Trying to poison people. Zet Chrono, I believe we're doing that. What if we became godly enough to create more physical planes to live on? I believe we're doing that to a degree. We just haven't solidified them yet. And I think this just has to do with our focus and our intention. And this is to say that there's plenty of people that say they are running in other realms right now when they go to sleep. And I believe it to be very possible, because I'm not running any other parallel lives currently, but I know that I have been in realms like that where, I haven't got back on that frequency, right? If I get back on that frequency, like, what's not to say I can't jump into that and walk this realm this way? Because I have dreams, not dreams, out of body or out out of this body experiences. And I'm not even going to call them astral travels or astral realms. I'm saying literally like spirit just goes there walking around on another realm. And it's as solid and everything as this. So, yeah, I think we're doing that anyways. I just think with you know, getting into if there's any good of what's going on here, it's that it doesn't happen immediately. So we can get a little bit of solidness of this, what's going on. So we get a consciousness of how to create a solid realm. So yeah, let me rephrase this thing for a zenith of I'm pretty sure the population bomb shit is depopulation. Well, but why? Why nothing needs to be depopulated? Every living system will self-organize and create homeostasis. That's guaranteed. All systems will do that. Any literal living system will do that. As far as the depopulation shit, I'm not for or against it. I could really care. I don't care. And the idea is this. If you believe in spirituality, then we can't really consider this human body our final form. Nor does it matter, right? So, more than anything, these things, when we say, oh, it's a depopulation agenda, well, why wouldn't they done it a long time ago? Why would they tell us it's happening? These stories come from the same institutions. They're the ones that are causing the problems. There's no depopulation. This ain't about depopulation. If it was about depopulation, people wouldn't be having children, but that's not happening. It's just more sickness. It's just an industry. It's always just industrial. They want people to live longer lives to get more money out of them and to be able to work as long as possible. And there's some sort of transition happening here, which is a good one, which has to do with the technological industries and shit. But certainly there's the depopulation. It runs hand in hand with, you know, the technology thing. Getting rid of people would be wise, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in the larger perspective of, like, how are we getting depopulized? Like, what, are they gonna start laser beaming, cutting our heads off? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it seems a little, you know, I don't really know how to say it properly, but yeah, I just whenever information comes out, I think it's just more fear. I think it just keeps people in fear. That's as simple as I can say it. These things are only to make you believe in some sort of fear-based, oh, they're going to get rid of the population, and they're going to put everybody in FEMA camps. Like, motherfuckers been saying this for fucking 20 years. Are we even sure people were in, you know, this harkens back to Nazi Germany, all this shit, right? Do you even know who the Nazis were? Were they part of the filming? Or, you know, do we know who Joseph Goebbels was, really? Do we know who Hitler was, really? Was Hitler Walt Disney? Are they all in on it together? Is all the grand architects of this entire plane, was anybody really fighting? Did World War II really happen the way you think it did? You know, did concentration camps happen? Because it seems like the only people that come out and say that it really did happen were people that are obviously connected to Freemasonry, Zionism, and Jews. Like, I mean, they put on an act too. I don't know. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying it seems to me that more is, you know, something small bad happens, and then we turn it into like some giant abrupt story, and everybody's fearful. Oh no, they're killing everyone. Yet they're going to sit in their little box with their TV going, oh, they're killing everyone, eating their cornflakes with the iron in it. You know? Yeah, Gary, you know what? You don't even need to put it in the vodka for 3 months. Get yourself a, I'm going to try to really catch up and not go on any more tangents, y'all. Gary, take that vodka. The higher the alcohol percentage, the better. And put it on a get like a coffee mug heater. You know, the cheap little things. Plug it in. It's the perfect temperature. Get your ball jar, throw the cayenne in there, and it'll speed up the process because it's going to be at the right temperature, not to get too hot to boil it. And this is especially good for like cayenne. I don't think is really going to matter because you just want the oils out of there and stuff. But for herbs, this is especially helpful because it put it at that temperature where you're not burning or getting rid of or letting out of the too many tannins and destroying the herb by boiling it, right? Because boiling can be a problem. So there's different herbs and different things. But anyways, point is, alcohol in a mason jar unless you have, maybe you got like a buffet heater. I bought a buffet heater a long time ago when I was making a lot of tinctures. And I would take a buffet heater and I'd have my brown tincture bottles all filled up with whatever and putting them, my giant mason jars filled up. I could put like 10 giant mason jars on this big buffet server. And I could set it by low, medium, high. So I could adjust the temperature for whatever I was for whatever I was making, and that speeds up the process. Where really I was only 72 hours. You're pretty good. 72 hours, you're gonna make a major extract. It doesn't need to be. You don't got to wait 3 months, my dude. You know what I mean? That's everybody saying like, oh, you've got to wait 3 months. Like, no, you got to wait 3 months if you want a 95% extraction. Within 3 days, you're getting 75 to 80% extraction. Think about making tea. Within the first 3 minutes, you got most of the tea out. Then from minute 4 to the minute 100, you're only getting a little bit more out of the tea, and it happens to be the part you don't want anyways. It happens to be the tannins and the real bitter elements that aren't really necessary to a quality tea. So hopefully that helps. And Zenith, yes, all of those are correct. Building your own world. That I think is the goal here. If as much of the garbage and everything that goes on here, I think the benefit is, would you want this in your world? No, I don't want that. Okay, well, what do you want? And then this universe offers you again, and you go, do you want this in your world? No. Well, what do you want? The universe just continually goes, ugh. I'm going to continue to give you things until you tell me what you want. I'll give you that too. But nobody out here. Nobody knows how to ask for exactly what they want. Everybody's a mealy-mouthed. Anybody heard me say that before? Everybody here mumbling, bumbling, everybody's saying what they want. And you know what? You're trained from a very young age. What word do you hear more than anything before you're 5 years old? No. You get into kindergarten, first grade? No. Can I have that? No. All of a sudden, you start to look at things, and you hear the word no, like you're not getting that. You're trained immediately that you can't have what you want. Psychologically, that will train you to not believe in magic, that you can't have what you want from the universe. Idiocracy. I was thinking, Zenith, why you say idiocracy? I was thinking about Idiocracy earlier today, and you know how funny it is that that's actually become a documentary. Zenith, you'd love to see a video on narcissist by me? A narcissist doing a video on narcissism? It's funny because it's hard to explain to people when you have... It's the difference between having confidence and being cocky. Having a healthy ego and coming off as narcissistic. Being self-righteous and having self-worth. These things are very hard to... It's a very thin line between these things. And it's subject to a lot of different, it's like somebody could write this wonderful book, and somebody goes in that book and takes out one sentence, and all of a sudden, by that one sentence, you look like you're neurotic. You look like a narcissist. You look like a crazy person. And that's happened to a lot of people. I've gotten lots of arguments. People think I'm saying something and I'm not because they're taking something out of context. I get many arguments about this. I'm like, because you stop listening. I trigger somebody with one word, and then the next 10 words where I'm explaining something they don't hear. And I'm like, well, if you'd have listened to everything I said, we could have clarified this. Zach Corona. Well, I mean, you still ahead of time, man, because Zach, you're like 19, right? You said you started at 15 drinking PP water. Yeah, and just to finish that last thing up, I'm sure I answered this completely, Zenith, but here's the final solution. It's always about energy extraction. If they want more energy, they can get more energy from you. They don't get energy from dead population. They're not going back to the Necronomicon. They're not going back to necromancy. They've done enough necromancy, and I think they've learned their lessons with dealing with the dead, the undying, the living but never dead because it's dead. I mean, they started dealing with that, and they're like, oh shit, we don't want to deal with the dead, because they win every time. And so I think they want to get away from depopulation and then having to deal with the, energy from extracting it from somewhere else. They want to extract from living things. You can't extract from the dead, if that makes sense. Are you talking about that term that Dubé says, what, the duper's delight? No, narcissists, I don't believe, narcissists don't get pleasure out of duping others. No. I'll save this whole thing for another time, because that's too giant of a topic for this. Oh man, I caught up here. Look at this. Yeah, you got to realize about narcissism, people are trained to be. Most people are psychopaths and narcissists because they're literally trained by society to be that way. Like, in a huge way. All of society to deal with capitalism, corporatism, all of this, because we're dealing with corpses, we're dealing with the dead world. The whole thing is entrained to be, to have an unhealthy ego, that now people want to kill the ego because it's unhealthy, right? Rather than understanding how to make it healthy. And they've been trained to be psychopathic and narcissistic. That self-preservation is all that matters. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but how they go about seeing that is way different than what a healthy ego, healthy mind, healthy system would provide. Like, self-preservation would take precedence always in every society, but what happens in society like this, self-preservation is looked at in terms of what can I do now. This is very important, and try to understand. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'll say it again afterwards. But self-preservation in this society is thought of in this way: I need to make more money today and leverage things now, leverage my time and my energy and my money today, so that in the future I'm taken care of and my family's taken care of. So therefore, the entire system of economics, the entire thing is predicated upon leveraging to get self-preservation. In any other society, self-preservation is now. How can I take care of myself now? And in fact, everything else that is done with, consider goods and services, is done with the intent in the moment of sharing goods and services. The trick is, see, self-preservation is like, hey, I'm falling down a hill. I'm going to preserve my life, etc., etc. But when you've leveraged time and energy and things into corporate, meaning dead worlds, and capitalist societies, these kind of ideas, that your focus is literally to refrain from sharing. Because now, if you have a bunch of something, if you have a bunch of peaches, what do? If you had a bunch of peaches and there was no money involved, I got 10 peaches. I can eat 2 of them. I'm gonna run around. I'll literally run around and try to find people that are hungry and say, you need a peach? I got these peaches. They're about to go bad. I share them. Simple. Direct. Harmonious. Instantaneous. Natural. It's living. That's what the system looks like. Now, if I put money in the way and I say self-preservation changes, I have 10 peaches, what do? I design myself a freezer. I put up a shop. I wait to find people that really need a peach and say, what do you got for me? I got these peaches right here. You hungry? What you got for me? I'll give you this peach, but you got to give me something. Thus the birth of what is a sociopathic, what is a narcissistic, what is a capitalist, what is a succubus, a vampiric culture. All based upon that concept. I can tell you where that was born out of, how it was done. It had to do with the smiths and sword makers and the weapons of words and the original magicians and the moon, and there's a lot there too, and that's another really long talk, but I hope you can understand the concept that I'm giving there of idea of self-preservation. They're preserving for their future, where now we're just preserving for now. You know, this is self-preservation. I mean, somebody come in and try to beat me up, I'm going to protect myself, where somebody else says, no, I'm putting a moat around here, I'm putting guards up, and I'm protecting myself from something that hasn't even occurred yet, right? That's what the world of capitalism does. That's what the world of, leveraging time, leveraging energy. Does that add to it? So narcissists that would brag about that shit, and whether or not they get delight, the delight is something different. Again, that's something that, I'll get into a little deeper at another time. I mean, they're not doing it specifically because they're going to. It's not like the push the button and get the bell and get the reward. I mean, to a degree it is. To a degree it is, but it's a little deeper than that. Declan, if alcohol's okay for you, why do monks not drink and say it's bad for your spirit? That's just untrue. Monks make beer. Spirit is beer. It's literally called spirit. So I don't know what you're saying. I don't have any. You started with a premise that is false. Because monks do drink it and they do make it and they don't think it's bad for your spirit. So you're going to have to reframe your question or what you're trying to say. Because once again, alcohol is spirit. Spirit is life. Life is breath. Breath is the fermentation process of what makes alcohol. Alcohol is sugar turning into a higher source of alchemy and fluidium and energy. Why do you think cars move faster with cleaner burning, higher test octane fuel? What up, Caitlin Koger? You've missed a fun one. This has been a fun show. I felt like I started this off with one thing to say and turned into I felt like I had something to say today. It's been the first time. Declan, you saw a video of a monk saying not to drink alcohol and eat garlic. Some one monk speaks for the entire cottage industry of monks across the world. That monk went to a very funny school. I know, I've heard of plenty of people say don't eat garlic and onions, and I find them foolish. I've heard plenty of people say don't drink alcohol. I find them foolish. Okay, so you know what? For that monk, then he should not drink alcohol or eat garlic. Then let him do that. But for the grand population, not only is that absurd and backwards, but I mean it's. Out of all of the goods and evils in the world, if there are any, out of the necessary things that one might consume, garlic is pretty far down the. In fact, it's so far in the opposite direction of health that it bemuses me to find someone say something so antithesis to health. You know, I wonder what that monk looked like. I wonder what his training was like. I wonder what, how many bowls of rice did he eat? Dr. Subby says rice is a poison. Maybe that man was poisoned by eating too much rice. Was he a vegetarian, or was he a monk that was out there eating yak's milk while consuming ox blood? What was his diet is always the question. I'd like to know more about his diet if he thinks garlic and alcohol is bad. Manny Fam, tingling is often a sign of energy healing something. You said in your jaw. Have you had jaw problems in your life? Maybe earlier. Do you clench your teeth? Do you have any tooth problems? Maybe maybe it's a certain organ in your body. You might be cleaning an organ, and that organ is connected to a tooth, and it might be tingling in one of your teeth, or maybe back here just as a jaw issue that you have maybe clogs here. So it seems to be some sort of clog for you. Are you doing much of posturing and changing and stretching and movement and doing yeah, maybe you might be clogging up things that are poisonous there. You know what I mean? But you can get into just using gua sha tools, or doing massage, or doing just little massages on you, or doing movement patterns that can kind of loosen up things. Oh, Declan, what kind of mushrooms did you get? Do you guys get the those really delicious ones that taste like chicken? You know what I'm talking about? Morels. Do you know about the morel mushroom? Zenith, is rice poison? I don't believe so. Sebi says so. Sebi says a lot of things I don't necessarily agree with, though. Is he talking about white rice, certain strains of white rice? I mean, man, this is a really long conversation, Rice is a big one, but I say as a general thing, no, man. Like, if you're getting a good source of rice, I mean, it's been feeding people for quite a long time. Is it the best of the best things to use? No. But then again, where are people going right now? Like, get on the master diet and get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You would say to people. Most people ain't on that path. That's why I say, hey, if you're still eating meat, well, if you're gonna eat the meat, eat it raw. And if you're gonna, if you're still eating meat, maybe transition to fish. Let's go. Let's figure it out. Like, you got somewhere to go. The path ain't just jump off the meat thing and start drinking piss and fruit juice, and you just illuminate and fly off into the oblivion. And so rice fits in there somewhere. And so most people that are concerned about rice, if you're concerned about rice, then there's other things that are probably more pressing issues. Yeah, I've had fried morels with garlic and butter. Well, what time are we looking at here? Oh shit, look at this. Y'all got me out here. Let me plug my thing in before. Here's what I'll do. I'll stay chitty chatting until this phone is charged, so that way I can unplug it and bounce, because I got to be here till it's charged anyways. And then I'll jump on here later and do I had another show. Actually, I was going to do based upon the title of a song by Fela Kuti, which is called well, I'll just save it for later. You'll see. Well, Zenith, I used to have that kind of fantasy too, to a degree. Now, do I think we're quantum jumping into different realities? I suppose so. It's hard to recognize when you jump into a new reality, but let's say it seems possible. Not only does it seem possible, it seems like the only thing that's going on. We just happen to see it as moment to moment occurs, fluxing of a new something. It could only look like we're going, we're never really just like jumping way over there unless we like eat that thing that changes our brain chemistry that opens everything up, then it changes the whole pattern or grid. But then all of a sudden the grid shuts down because the chemical that you put in your brain that was only there for a momentary exploration or trip into a different dimension occurred, where you can do that organically by, and when I say organically, I mean you do the work on your own brain to open up all possible neurological connection points that, some people are like, are you fucking high right now, Zen? Are you tripping balls? Are you out of your mind? What drugs did you do? And I'm like, nah, B, this is just me. Like, I already opened up all my gating mechanisms and neuroconnectors in my brain, and that some of them are probably from using certain substances, but most of it is just because, no, this is, I've read the, you can open up pathways by reading a book, by watching a movie. You can close them down just as well. So all of these things, because I'll accept that I'm looking at this right now, and I'm trying to observe the rest of my room and let all these pieces of information kind of adjust and change my frequency. Or when I'm outside, I say, hey, what of this influx of energy through my ears, through my nose, through my skin maybe even, or what I'm looking at, how is this affecting and adjusting my reality? Because it's all forms of information, right? Now, if I'm always looking at like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? As the normal person's walking down the street, trying not to scuff their shoe, but they're on the phone playing, text with somebody, and then, they got the business suit and this on. Like, they're using basically one source of incoming information, and it's their eyeballs. And I'm like, B, I'm out here using my ears, my schnoz, my mouth, my skin. It's a whole sensory system that I'm using. And most people can't. I mean, I can't do that all the time. I don't do that all the time. But when I become re-aware of it, like, oh yeah, what are we doing? Okay, are we breathing? Are we looking? Are we listening? Are we ingesting? What am I doing right now? Where are my feet? I'm holding this, but where are my feet? What's that guy doing out there? And letting that influx of information start to adjust the frequency of my reality. Are humans or parasites controlling us? Sticky icky. Parasites, internally. Literally internally from a physical realm, meaning you've literally put things in your body that you need to get out of it that are expressly asking you for energy. There are things living inside of your gut and in your system, and you find, especially around the moon, you become hungrier. Around the full moon, you become hungrier for certain things, but you're not hungrier. You aren't hungry. Those little parasites are. You'll know the difference between when your body is saying, hey, I'd like some nourishment of something, versus when you have parasites literally controlling through the chemicals. It's releasing chemicals into your blood, into your stream, and all of a sudden you find yourself desiring and wanting pancakes at 3 a.m. from IHOP. You ain't seen a commercial for IHOP in months, but all of a sudden you want them. Now, there's other ways of doing it. The humans, they do it by reminding you every single day that you want McDonald's for lunch because it makes you happy. It does. It makes you so happy. Even to this day, I will find myself like going by McDonald's and saying, I want a fish fillet, Coca-Cola, and them salty-ass french fries. And finding myself arguing and reasoning with myself. What are, these selves that we have? Saying, I could go eat that. It'd be fun. It's delicious. It offers some neurological something that occurs that stimulates something. And I have to actually walk myself away from the ledge. Even today. Like, even in this day and age where I am. It doesn't happen all the time. This is not like an everyday occurrence, but I'll find myself sometimes like, I think I'd like a McDonald's something today. I haven't ate McDonald's in like what 12 years, but then there's a couple times in there that I would go get McDonald's and just go afterwards, be like, I feel like a pile of shit right now, but my brain is just like, ugh. And then afterwards I'm like, ugh, and I once again am hit with the, why did I just do that? But I need more. Give me more crack French fries. Give me more of those French fries. Daddy, may I please have more French fries? If not, I will kill you in your sleep tonight. Hopefully nobody just tuned in for that part of the little hijinks that was in there. Wow. There you go, Zenith. That's crazy. See that? That's really interesting when people have these immediate results to something like that. And changing your physicality. You're making me want to do a headstand right now because lately, because I've been doing these when I talk to people, I have to lean in to scroll through. And so I find myself got to readjust my posture now and then. You see me kind of, I just got me going down here. Oh, there it is. Actually, I could do it from here. This is pretty decent. Let me see. Y'all can just check out my boogie situation. Yeah, I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna go pee into something, and when I come back, I'll probably be drinking it. But I'm gonna think about this, and give me 1 second. 1 second. Give me 1 minute. Don't give me anything. Just I'll be back in 1 minute. How's that? Real time correcting your own language, so you can practice that. Oh man, I just fucking something today. I ate salty ass Lay's potato chips yesterday. I can taste that today. I can taste the all of my sins of yesteryear. Well, Xena, thanks. That's awesome. To be put in the class of Master of Earth. You know what's so funny? That the small number of people that know who I am, and yet the people that do know who I am, have either said that, like, they basically put me with, like, Master of Earth and Savan and, like, really big channels. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know why my channel ain't big like that, but I kind of like it this big. I kind of like specializing for people, not specializing in any one thing, but I guess I'd be like the teacher of teachers. It's got to be, you'd have to be in a special plateau of development to listen to what I have to say. At least I like to think of myself. If that's my ego talking, so be it. And I also don't know if I want responsibility for, the audience of what's Savan's audience these days? How many people subbed up on his stuff? Like what, 30,000 or so? I don't know. I don't really know if I want 30,000 people, you know, all up in like texting me and shit. Cause I mean, I could be because I like to be helpful. You know what I mean? Jude Meister, I keep it so sincere and gentle. Yeah. Out of all the teachers out here, you think I keep it gentle? I get up in people's asses out here, Jude Meister. Ain't no way about it. Like, I do though. I mean, yeah, sincere and gentle for sure. But like sometimes, you gotta twist things around for people because they get it real confused on thinking spirituality is something that ain't. Well, oh, Sticky Icky too. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's always funny. Like I wish people when they tell me like if you want somebody to come on and listen to me, like let me know you got somebody on new that I can kind of dig into what's on their brain because my kind of thing that I do I don't think is for everyone, you know. Because if you don't got thick skin, there's a chance I might insult you or your belief system. And if you ain't already gone through the deprogramming, like I think somebody like Savan is a great deprogrammer, where the way that he speaks is less than aggressive. There's no there he doesn't he dices up his words in such a way that no one's really going to be offended by what he says, and he's really good at it. He's very very good at it, and he tells stories in a way that keeps a little bit of a boundary in between what he's saying and he makes it a little more allegorical. So does Dan Winter does it too. He keeps a big boundary in between what he's really saying and using allegory of stories and technology. But he's also speaking to specialists. Santos though he gets nicely irritated sometimes. I enjoy that about him. That's why I always dug Santos because he would really get you could see him kind of get animated and like upset with the ideas like because he grew up as a oh what is it called? He was in a cult. What's the really crazy cult that people Jehovah Witness. He was a Jehovah Witness. You know that? Does everybody know that? Santos used to be a Jehovah Witness. That's some cult like stuff, man. That's some real deep seated like mental abuse and stuff. And so it's always funny to listen to him to come when he gets to that like when he starts doing his voice. Oh Jesus he's so funny. But yeah, that's oh, speaking of pee-pee, let me finish this before it goes weird. Thanks, Kenneth. Yeah, my rants. Yeah, it's especially Jude. It's funny, and especially when I go on some like when somebody asks me something, I find myself if I'm kind of I kind of query. I've talked to people about this before of how I channel things versus other people that are channeling things because I try to make it not I try to make it accessible for other people to say you channel too whether you like it or not or whether you know it or not really like it and just how to upgrade your capacity to channel. And so when somebody asks me a question, it's kind of like I'm taking the blueprints I have in my brain and then kind of seeing if this piece of information fits into it while I'm kind of talking. It's interesting. It's fun to do. But yeah, my rants are fun, huh? Since you've been Jesse, Mom, since you started UT about 2 weeks ago, you've been coughing up glue-like phlegm ever since. That's excellent. It means it's doing what it should be doing. It's de-phlegming the body, like all of the gunk and stuff, because basically alcohol will do that for you. Um, Smoking actual tobacco or mugwort or some of the other herbs will also bring up phlegm. It's not causing the phlegm. And because urine is also, it's cleansing of the blood, it's literally separating things, like oil and water. And so that phlegm, that mucus, is a wet, cold substance. So hot and dry fixes it. But it just so happens that urine is like the master it can take any form. And so what it's doing in the body is it's dividing up and carrying out the mess out of the body. And so if you're getting phlegm, that's really good, because the phlegm is the source and cause of, if you listen to like somebody like Sebi, he'll say the phlegm is the source of the disease, the mucus, the phlegm. And so getting that out of the body is good, you know? You might have to go through the little bit of trials and tribulations and pains and like, but getting that out is excellent, you know what I mean? Because it's obviously not you look at the pee, that this is not, there's no phlegm in there. Where's the phlegm at? It's in your body somewhere. It might be literally like, I got a little piece of, I got a little bit of one of these little guys. What are they called? You know what these little things are? What do people call them? A little buildup of, basically a little piece of cancer. Doesn't bother me. I've done fast and those go away, and sometimes they come back depending on what I'm doing, right? They're little polyps or whatever. Now, if I start breaking that down, what does my blood do with it? It's going to take it out of my body somewhere. That might actually come out as phlegmic substance out of my body. It might come out as, you know, out the back end. So yeah, you're just getting rid of things, man. That's excellent. There's a big difference. You know, people go through this thing of like being sick or going through healing. Like, is the thing you're doing causing you illness, or is it relieving a sickness that's literally stagnant in your body somewhere? And most people don't realize that you're walking around as a sick, unhealthy person. 99% of us. Even now, as healthy as I might be, I'm nowhere near the healthiest I've ever been, and I'm nowhere near healthy as a lot of people that are out here actually practicing the things that I talk about, because I just happen to be on a different path right now. Right now, I'm happy to be going into places that are making me unhealthy, but I'm doing it so I can make contact with people that will get more benefit out of me being around, you know, me taking on a little of their burden and also communicating with them, because I know how to fix my sickness, right? So most people don't realize that what's coming out of them is the you know, the dis-ease that's living somewhere in the body. And it literally is. It's living as a stored up, your mind, your brain, not your mind, your brain produces chemicals that then bond with something that you ate. So say maybe a week ago you ate something when you were upset with someone. Oh, I'm so mad, and there's some fat in that food. And all of a sudden it gets stuck somewhere in your body. Now that piece of fat is essentially phlegm. It's like a fattiest, phlegmous, right? It's like a gunk. And all of a sudden, you do this for a couple, you do this for a year of your life. You're eating when you're mad, and you're creating all this all over your body. You got these pieces of fat. Now all of a sudden, you do a little bit of cleansing. Now it's releasing all of those fats back into the system, and you got to get it out of your body somehow. And so that's what's happening. And that's also why people stop. I was giving this talk, I think yesterday. This is why people stop a lot of fasting, and they stop a lot of like urine therapy and all things that are healing them, because there's two things. One, they don't know. They think they're getting sick, but they're not. They're actually getting rid of things, and they're dealing with the emotional weight of what was going on when they actually made themselves sick, and they held on to it and didn't get rid of it. They didn't process it at that time. So you're actually dealing with emotional baggage of, say, maybe a year ago, and going, why am I thinking about this person? Why am I thinking about this issue? Oh, this is terrible. I don't feel good right now. This is awful. I must be sick. And then you start eating. Well, that eating is going to get rid of it. Like, it's going to make the pain go away, but it ain't fixing the problem. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. Jesse, Mom. What up, Lincoln Cash to Nick? Oh, shut, dude. Oh man, Kenneth, that's really cool. I'm glad. I wouldn't say that I purposefully do that. There are times that I might say things that I know when I'm speaking to someone that I'm focused on something and I'm doing something, like psychological incisions. But I don't know any of you, so it's different. Like in person, it's easy to do, but over this, it's something weird. It's like a little transition that happens in my mind where, like, oh, there's something I need to say here, and I don't know why. Why would I say something like that? Why would I make that kind of joke or that kind of deliver whatever I'm saying that way. So that's really interesting, Kenneth. That's cool. Yeah, Jesse, I hope that worked. I hope that made a lot of sense. Oh, Zenith, there you go. That is all that. It's all stored up. It ain't just that's some deep psychosomatic physical, like there it is. Like you can see it. And it's literally stored there as like your body is housing memory. Your brain does not. This is something I like to make clear to people too. So I don't know. Again, this is so I hate being repetitive with things, but I have to kind of get used to being somewhat repetitive because there's, obviously a new people, a new breed, a new generation that come on and listen to me talk and they haven't heard everything I had to say. I mean, you never gonna hear everything I have to say. Talk for years. But that where was I at? Yeah. Your body stores your memory, not your brain. Okay, your body houses bits and pieces of information and memory. Let me get in a little better position because I'm a little uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. So that ain't working. Let me go over my purple chair maybe. So what's happening with Okay, maybe this is a little better. We'll see. Okay, so what's happening with your body is you're storing memories that then get released and processed through your mind, your brain. It's not your mind. Your mind is the overmind. Your brain is the processing unit. There's a reason the brain has no feelings, because there's no feelings in there. There's nothing. It's just doing work. It's just classifying and putting this here and connecting this here, and it's like a woman, an old woman that works at a call center in the 1920s, plugging this into this into this. That's what the brain does. There's nothing happening there. There's no thought. Thoughts don't even happen in your brain. Let's be very even deeper on this. Let's get more clear. Thoughts are a universal thing that are going through the air. They're frequencies. Thoughts are not yours. You get to latch onto them if you want, with inside of your system whole, your whole body, and then decode them with your mind. Your brain, excuse me, I keep saying this. You get to take the larger mind that's everywhere, that's connected, and then get to process it through your system. And then in your brain, you get to say, hey, how can we form and fashion this into something? But your body is the place that's holding stored up memories and charges and information. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jude Meister. Hey, Lincoln. So if you go to smoke, you know what you can do. Like, there's a lot of ways to deal with that, because smoking, what it's turned into, is something that it wasn't supposed to be. Smoking was supposed to be, are you smoking just tobacco, or does the tobacco already have a bunch of chemicals in it? Because that's a big difference too, on the connections being made neurologically. Secondarily, how many cigarettes do you smoke a day, and is it always reactionary? Because what you could do is you could change your method of smoking, even if it's been a reactionary thing, to turn it into an actionary thing. Change the times that you would smoke. Instead of like you get mad about something and you go smoke, that's the time that you deal with the repercussions of being upset, and you smoke prior. Like if you're about to, like, normally you'll have your smoke before lunch or whatever. Don't. Have it at a different time. You know what I mean? Like you've got to change up, like, just habits that are associated with the smoking. But I hear what you're saying though about burning pathways in the brain. I mean, it really does matter if you're using all of the chemicals that are in what's in you know, fucking Marlboro or whatever, versus getting the just straight tobacco. Or if you're smoking a cigar. Smoking a cigar has a whole nother, like, that's a good thing to do, right? It's ritualistic. You're not smoking them all day. You're not inhaling it into your lungs so much. You're getting a small amount of the nicotine. You're getting, it's doing a lot of beneficial things. Yeah, I hear what you're saying though, Lincoln. Yeah. But even if you do find yourself, you know, smoking during those times of emotional heightenedness or whatever, like if you're very, you know, just the fact that you're aware of it now helps to alter things, you know? If in the past you didn't know, you just, I'm mad, I'm smoking, oh, I'm out there, you know? Yeah, the smoking can turn into a smudge for your mind, for sure, especially if you just go ahead and turn your cigarettes into, like, roll your own. Now you start rolling your own cigarettes with organic tobacco and some mullein leaf and some peppermint and making your own. Now it becomes a ritual. Now you're mad at someone, right? Or you having an issue, like, emotionally. All of a sudden you reach in your pocket instead of just pulling out a cigarette and smoking it. You go, okay, well, now there's a process. Now you're gonna think about it. What am I putting here? I'm putting a little tobacco, putting a little mullein, roll it up, and then it becomes a practice. It alters the habit into something creative and something, you know, you can. It's interactive. It's not a button to push. You see, a button to push is cigarette come out, light up the thing. You smoke. Now, if you have a process you have to go through to get to that, you change everything. See that? Yeah, like Jude Meister said. Now you're changing the process. It's so funny. I'm gonna have to just make the entire collection for people on the moon.